Hello to whoever's listening. Today I'm once again on the Quickie and I am going to be covering Chris and the internet. Before we get into this though, I would greatly appreciate it if you'll subscribe to help me out, like this video to boost up in the algorithm, comment down below any suggestions for any video ideas or topics you want me to cover and I might make a video on it, not guaranteed though because I am lazy. And also hit that bell so you get notifications to all of my videos, and by the way, I have a Twitter. I mainly do just posting there, I'm not gonna lie with you, but whenever there's a new video, I'll be like, hey, here's a new video, check it out, here's a link. I'll like tweet about it, put the link in there and then pin it to my profile, so when you obviously go to follow my Twitter, that's the first thing you'll see basically. So yeah, follow my Twitter and do all the things I just said right now. Anyways, let's get into this. Chris and the internet. Redirected from Chris and the internet. This article is out of date. We need information on Chris's general internet activity / understanding from the late 2010s onwards. As this page was mainly written during the classic era, we suggest you keep up with the times. Well, that's fine by me because I prefer the classic era. So yeah, if there's like a new big update on this page, I might make a mini video about it, or I'll just like address it in the comments and give my opinion on it. Oh no, it depends though. Hello, I'm well known on the internet, sadly. Chris. I really detest the memes. memes. Chris. Why did you have to spell out memes? We know you know how to spell memes, Chris. It's okay. The internet, the bloodstream of our saga, is a computational system that allows the transmission of data over long distances through a massive collection of networks connected all over the world. The internet has grown immensely since its first real conception in the 1980s as a means for the military and later universities to communicate with each other. It said about 6.4 billion people are connected to the internet today, and you know what's crazy? I'm pretty sure it's like 8 or 9 billion people on Earth, so it's still like a couple billion people out there that don't have any connection to the internet. Like, is that not? I think that's a bit crazy to me. Maybe it's because I've grown up with the internet, but I can't imagine a world without the internet, especially today, because that's very like integral to our lives. I don't know. One of those people is Chris, the internet's battered girlfriend who always comes back for more. I always forget this is the Quickie. And it can be a bit edgy sometimes. Anyways, there's a picture here, and the caption says, the proper response to a version of the rage on the internet. Get away from that internet, I'm cutting it down. And yeah, it's Bob, the internet lumberjack, rest in peace, man. Understanding. Chris seems to be aware that the internet is a place where, once he puts something up, anyone with access to a computer can see it. However, due to a combination of his ego and general inability to understand others, Chris has come to the conclusion that if he puts anything on the internet, everyone will see it. And if you direct a message to someone, only they will see it. Chris has in the past attempted to address videos to specific people, from celebrities to potential employers to internet girlfriends to his country's president. Most telling is his 8th of May 2010 rant, which was addressed to anyone who served on the Greene County School Board in the early 1990s. Yeah, I'm sure these guys are looking up videos specifically pertaining to their former jobs. Or who was serving during this, like Obama, with Obama looking up videos of himself to watch. I don't think he was, Chris. But you know, he thinks if he puts up a video, everyone will see it, as it says here. Chris sees no problem in revealing highly sensitive information in his videos, including his phone number, street address, and others potentially identifying info, such as the real name of the girl he desperately wanted to be his sweetheart. Was that the wallflower by any chance? You know, I think it's crazy that when she contacted the Quickie and she was like, hey, can you just like take off my identifying information? I'm like, yeah, okay. I guess it's because like she wasn't really that important, but still. What was I gonna say? Here's the thing. When I was like a kid, oh my god. Yeah, when I was a kid and the internet was getting like really, really, really big in like the early 2010s, everyone was using it. Everyone. They had like a lot of classes on how to, you know, keep safe on the internet, and they always said, don't give out your real name, don't give out your phone number, don't give out your address. Chris is hitting all of those marks. I feel like he would be a really good example of what not to do on the internet. Don't post your personal information, don't post your nudes, don't post all that other crap. Maybe he needed one of those lessons, I'm not too sure. I always thought to myself, who is this stupid to put out their real names and street addresses and phone numbers on the internet? And I guess Chris is. He doesn't understand that YouTube is a public website and not an instant messaging service, never paying attention to the deluge of comments he gets from horrified onlookers that definitively prove his quote-unquote private messages are anything but. Chris has been on the internet since the late 1990s, yet does not understand how to act online any more than he does in real life. While many users of the internet contribute content, are polite and helpful, and generally follow any established rules. When was this written? What? They are polite and helpful and generally follow any established rules. Has there ever been a time on the internet where the average user was like this? Maybe I'm just like on the bad part of the internet because I'm on Reddit and Twitter a lot. So maybe that's why I have this idea that the average internet user is just a massive unhelpful twat. Chris sees all websites as vehicles to spew his self-serving version of the truth. Even worse, when given his own website, he audaciously claimed that it was he who had control over the site, not the sysop who did the work of setting it up or the advertisers who paid. Chris thinks if his name is plastered on something, it's his. He owns it. Like, no, that's not how it works, Chris. I feel like I'm talking to a child who just doesn't know how to share. You have to like redirect them and be like, no, Chris, it's okay. It's not yours. Out of fear of trolls, Chris refuses to meet people online or interact with people he knows beyond closed doors. He has tried to join public forums at least a couple of times without attaching his name to the account, but has outed himself either on his own or through his unusual and distinctive writing style, abandoning them when he feels unsafe from his trolls. And I feel like that's a bit unfair, because like now he's trying to be a bit more anonymous, and the trolls are finding him either way, even though he's making it really obvious. Again, I'm not like a sympathizer of Chris. I know there's a lot of woke people out there who are like trying to make Chris just seem like a perpetual victim, but he really isn't. I don't know why I said woke, as if I'm not also woke, funnily enough. Oh my god, I have something in my eye, like an eye bogey. In the recent years, though, he has been very active on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord, using them as safe spaces and content bubbles to bask in his own glory. He was in multiple self-serving groups, such as The Place, Golden Church of Sonic Shoe, or the Knights of Quick, which served as places to spew out his horrid ideas and the world's views in a regulated environment to people who won't be bothered by it. When it was impossible, Chris opted to either block people who spoke against him or use multiple sock puppets to view people who have blocked him instead. A typical show of his hypocrisy. Yeah, no, he blocks people and he gets mad when they try to like interfere or evade his blocking, but he does the exact same thing. But doesn't everyone do that? Like when I get blocked by people on Instagram, I have like a backup account just so I can view their profile and be a bit nosy. I don't do it like often, I'm not like an obsessive stalker, but I have that just in case I want to be nosy once in a while. I wouldn't use like sock puppet accounts though. Well, I guess it is one, but like I won't pretend to be like another person or whatever. It's just like a blank profile. Anyways, Fora. Chris does not usually participate in forum discussions, either due to dislike of reading, simple egotism, or both. When he does, he always signs his message, be it in a comment on YouTube, a rant on the Adult Swim boards, or complaints about something in Little Big Planet. He never follows up on these posts either, nor does he read the comments left by other users, just like on YouTube. Any retractions or responses are saved for completely unrelated posts elsewhere on the internet. I think it's really weird that he never like replies to trolls or whatever, like in these YouTube videos or like on forum posts as it says here. Like it just seems like so up his alley to argue with them all day, but I guess he has that over most people. Common sense would suggest that Chris would fare well on the internet forums, which are havens for socially inept 30-something weeboo man children who still live with their parents. However, Chris has managed to fail here too. By appearing in the web as his usual nicknames or full names and plastering solitary crap all over, he draws the attention of his trolls, and reacts predictably when they follow him. More importantly, if the trolls somehow fail to notice his new hangouts, he's quick to make enemies completely on his own accord, due to his ego, selfishness, and complete disregard of rules. To be fair, that's very true. Like, even if the trolls have kind of like lost track of him, people who don't know that's Chris, they're still going to be like, wow, this guy is a huge twat, isn't he? He just like brings that negative vibe around with him. Chris is, or has been, active on many other mediums on the internet. He has run his own blogs and websites, posted videos on YouTube, and communicated with the outside world through social media sites such as MySpace, Twitter, and Facebook. It was only through Chris's extensive activity on these mediums that made the complication of this hugely extensive wiki possible. As of 2018, however, Chris's online activity has transformed from a naive man-child's accidental comedy act to the insane ramblings of an unhinged madman. Exactly. It just feels a lot more uncomfortable to follow his later years, purely because I feel like I'm just laughing at a really unwell schizophrenic man. To me, it feels like seeing a homeless person near Tesco talking to himself and being like, ha ha, you're fucking crazy. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. So that's why I stick mostly to the classic era of Chris. Also, it's just not as entertaining to me. Also, yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, Chris is being harassed by trolls. He's always been harassed by trolls. And to an extent, yeah. But for the most part, they know this information because Chris is giving the information. He's not being like blackmailed or they're threatening him or whatever. No, he just gives it on his own accord. We know his house address because he just gives it away. We know his phone number because he gives it away. We know a lot of things about Chris just because he's so egotistical that he just wants to give it all away. I'm not too sure why. I don't know if he thinks it's really interesting or what. But still, he doesn't keep a lot of his personal information private. I'm surprised we don't have like his credit card details or whatever. Password sharing. This article is yet to be completed due to stress. We get a lot of stressful thoughts in our lives that makes us crash into slumber. Given that inspiration is a big variable, and we may have been lacking of it, this article will be completed as soon as possible at our own pace. Honest. This article is missing the following. Kiwi Farm post, Marvin, hashtag Chris has never been hacked. What? Okay, I don't really care about this. See also Greg May's emails and 2018 Twitter account compromise. One of the most cardinal rules of the internet taught to pretty much anybody of any age is that you should never give away your password to an account you have on any website, since obviously this runs the risk of you being hacked by people like trolls and scammers. Chris, in his infinite wisdom, has broken the rule on multiple occasions, because he just never learns. During the Miyamoto saga in 2009, Chris was contacted by one Greg Mays, really an alias of Clyde Cash, who wanted to help update his website to promote Sonic Shoe's appearance in Animal Crossing, and thus asked him to provide his username and password for his tripod account. Chris was surprisingly somewhat hesitant to do so initially, but when he was pressed with a deadline to give Greg his password, he let his guard down. Shortly after this, Greg hacked the site. Well, of course. I'm surprised that he was hesitant about it initially, he wasn't just like, oh, yeah, of course, man. In Blue Spike PSN Chat 3, Blue Spike, under the guise of Julie, asked Chris if he could share his PlayStation Network account with quote-unquote her. Chris was all too eager to give away his password to his then sweetheart, which would eventually cause his account to get hacked. In fall 2018, Lucas and friends posed as Magi-chan and manipulated Chris into giving him the password to his Twitter account, from which they would control for 3 months during the 2018 Twitter account compromise. Oh, so this is like a whole saga type thing. I've never even heard of the 2018 Twitter compromise thing, and it went on for months. There's even a little article on it. I'm not going to cover it though, it's way too short. It's also just not that interesting. VPN. VPNs can be used for several purposes, including security, anonymity, and bypassing country restrictions. The first known usage of a VPN was during the 2018 account compromise, when a Teen Stream squad logged into Chris's Twitter to troll him by writing tweets in his name, but sometimes left their VPN stamp visible. In 2024, Chris himself was observed using a VPN. Did he only get one because YouTubers kept advertising VPNs on their videos, and he's like, oh, I need to get a VPN now? To be honest, I only got a VPN when they had the online internet act or whatever in the UK that makes you give your ID and your passport information, just view porn, not even just porn, just a bunch of other crap that you don't really need to give away personal information for, and everyone just got the same VPN, and I still have it on my phone, I'm pretty sure. Bans. Main article lists of places that banned Chris, hashtag websites. As with many places in real life, Chris has found himself banned from a few places he frequents online. Thanks to his screwed up conversation filter, Chris has done stupid stuff and has had stuff taken down or been banned from places. However, due to his relative inactivity concerning internet forums, he's banned from fewer places online than expected. He was banned from DeviantArt in summer of 2009 for posting the uncensored version of Sonic Shoe number 9 without an NSFW tag. I was literally just about to say, I've seen so much weird crap on DeviantArt, so I don't know how he would get banned for that, but if he didn't post it without the tag, that kind of makes more sense. Though he doesn't understand why. Comments he left on the Wikipedia suggest that he is under the impression that his DA account simply vanished into cyberspace for no reason. Would you not get an email or when you try logging onto the account saying, oh, you've been banned for X, Y, and Z? To be fair, I don't have DeviantArt. I don't really know, but still. He was also banned earlier for the uncensored version of Sonic Shoe number 8. Despite bouncing from one account to the next, Chris has only been banned once from YouTube. However, unlike DA, Chris has constantly made new accounts after one was taken down or abandoned. He has also had posts moderated at Game FAQs where he attempted to solicit money for special characters and Mod Nation races. When his quote-unquote article on Wikipedia was deleted and his talk page there got trolled, his account was indefinitely blocked. Although the blocking admin mistakenly thought that he was a sock puppet of a troll and not the real deal. Oh my god. Imagine banning Chris Chan because you think he's a troll, and he's like, no, I'm a real guy. I want to see if there's an archive of his article. Okay, I haven't really found an archive of the article, so that kind of sucks. But for some reason, let me post it here. There's a Russian article made on Chris that was mainly translated from the Polish version. How many times has this article been translated? Although it was deleted a while back. Anyways, his most grievous ban to date involves Flipnote Hitena. Between the 29th of June and the 2nd of July, Chris had the same Flipnote removed from the site 4 times because of its sexual nature. With Chris thinking it was being removed by trolls instead of realizing the fact that the Nintendo-owned website wouldn't like having animated sex streams being put on their site. Because of this and other Flipnotes he had uploaded and re-uploaded, the mods briefly blocked Chris's DSI from uploading any further flip notes. When his ban expired, Chris resurfaced on the website and re-uploaded all the flip notes that got him banned in the first place. The entire situation wasn't helped by tryhard trolls flagging his animations in a desperate attempt to have an impact. How does that make them tryhards to flag all his stuff? Isn't that what trolls do, basically? I don't know. One notices a pattern in all of this. Chris has a tendency to not read the website's terms of service or gain an understanding of websites he uses. When protesting his ban from Wikipedia for violating one of their numerous rules, he argued he didn't have the time to read pages upon pages of fine prints that stipulated what constituted acceptable behaviour. Well, yeah, he does. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't do anything. I'm sure he could sit there for a couple of minutes and read the rules. When faced with a similar conflict on Flipnote, he failed to get the hint that each deleted animation was violating terms of service. Even uploading a video anyone could tell was inappropriate for the PG-13 website no less than 4 times before getting his console blocked. Again, does it not have like a notification that says, hey, Nintendo has removed this because you're uploading weird wet dream animations and we don't want that? I don't know. Again, I haven't used Flipnote Hatena before, so I wouldn't really know. Anyways, there's a picture here and the caption says, some people see dicks everywhere on the internet. Chris tends to see these instead, and it's the ban hammer. I think Chris sees both, because, you know, he watches a bunch of porn. Attempts to leave the internet. As the saying goes, quote unquote, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. However, in Chris's case, he takes this and butchers it. When trolls descend on him and torture him, he gets up and leaves. He's like a child who packs up all of his toys and goes out on the driveway when things don't go his way. For many trolls, this would be a great victory. Threatening to quit the internet forever is such a common reaction to trolling that it has its own term, quote unquote, flounce. I've never heard of that before. That's kind of like interesting though. I guess he learns something new every day. Of course, his game consoles are still hooked up to the internet, where he plays video games, reads game forums, and logs into YouTube, so he never really leaves for good. He merely changes his outlet. Or to be fair, it's kind of hard to leave the internet. It is, again, integral to our lives at this point. When Chris talks about quitting the internet, he means ceasing video and comic production and no longer tangling with trolls. I guess because this is like such an old kind of article, that quitting the internet does mean something like different now. Because when people quit the internet, they don't actually quit the internet, they do just like stop doing whatever they were doing that was getting them trolled in the first place, like making videos or making comics or doing whatever else. But I guess back then it was literally quitting the internet, you just don't go on it anymore, which I think is just crazy. His first attempt to abandon the internet was when the Ivy saga was hitting its peak. Tired of Clyde Cash's trolling, Chris proclaimed that he was leaving. Instead of doing that, he disappeared for all of 2 weeks before creating a new account on YouTube. His second, third, and fourth attempts all seem to have been directed by an outside force. Of course, Chris being Chris, he never made good on his word to stay off. After he made the second announcement of leaving the internet, he made a round about the Cleveland show a mere 36 hours later. All so bad about the Cleveland show that he had to come back to the internet. He also made his fourth announcement of leaving the internet just 4 days after making his third announcement, saying that the trolls had both made him scared and scared him from the internet. He returned just 1 week after his grand proclamation. After talking about how he almost committed vehicular homicide, he makes his fifth announcement that he is leaving the internet. Nearly 2 weeks after his fifth abandonment of the internet, he was spotted at Fridays After 5 playing Flipnote Studio on his Nintendo DSI. He soon discovered the pictures and videos of him on the internet and broke his exile to post his response to it all on Flipnote Hatena the next day, saying that he wishes trolls would stop spreading his bad reputation around. It shows not only that Chris is still looking out for his internet reputation, he also assumes that by telling trolls, quote unquote, I'm leaving the internet forever, he expects them to stop talking about him, which doesn't happen. Like, if someone leaves the internet, people are still going to make, you know, content about it. What was I going to say? There was another locale, Birdie, I think his name was. He's like an animation guy. He left the internet and stopped making videos for like a good 2-3 years. And people still made content about him. And when he returned and then disappeared again, people still made content about him. People still like tear apart his I'm back video and bringing up all like the past drama that he was involved in. So I don't know what Chris expects. I guess because he was like the first lolcow, trolling techniques, I'll call them, were kind of like one of the first. I guess he doesn't really understand like what's going to happen, basically, if that makes any sense. This would have been easy for the trolls to do if Chris had just stopped making videos, especially ones addressing them specifically, not seeking out trolls offline couldn't hurt either. Before I move on to the next bit, oh my god, I'm almost done. There's 2 pictures here, and let me look at these. His first picture, and the caption says, this is what Chris means when he says he's going to, quote unquote, go outside and enjoy life. And there's a second picture that doesn't have a caption, but it's kind of like it's a cycle chart, I think that's what you call it. And it's called the Chris Chan cycle. Chris comes back on the internet, posts a new video, many laughs are had, optimism about new trolling opportunities arise. A new sweetheart/troll appears, numerous videos and chats are done, quick troll skeptical about the latest troll ploy, a saga ends, numerous docs are leaked, quick community analyzes a lot of the new information that is revealed, trolls still divided on opinions. Leaving the internet, Chris claims that he will leave the internet and stick with IRL encounters only. Trolls bowl about dry spells. Trolls also say Chris has dried up as a lolcow, and then it goes, because it's the Chris Chan cycle. Again, this is like a very classic error. I did not know that trolls were divided on this and be like, oh, he's dried up as a lolcow. I have kind of heard before, like, people being skeptical, not believing Chris was actually like this and that he was trolling the trolls and he was actually just a normal guy, and people being like, oh, there's no way this could continue for forever, basically. He's eventually going to dry up. But no, like 15, 16 years later, even more at this point, he's still giving a lot of laughs. It's crazy. Well, I guess not now, but like back then, he went on a lot more than I think a lot of people would have guessed. But anyways, on the 22nd of November 2010, Chris announced that he would be leaving the internet yet again, and began what would become his longest time away from the internet. For a hitherto unsurpassed period of time, Chris managed to refrain from doing something that would directly attract the attention of the trolls, or that he was not completely able to repress his urge to spread his ego over the tubes. And thanks to his PS3 with web connection and keyboard controller, he still made occasional efforts to make the world realize his greatness. Despite his claims to have stopped socializing online, a new Facebook account bearing a previously unseen photograph of Chris was discovered on the 5th of July 2011. And 2 weeks later, it was revealed that between the 29th of May and the 20th of June 2011, Chris was frequenting the forum Tomboys and Tomgirls of Virginia while trialing and failing to stay anonymous. This culminated with 3 new videos released on the 6th of August 2011 after a 257-day YouTube hiatus. Okay, that is quite a long time. That's almost a year. I think that's a record for Chris. I don't think he beat it either. Actually, no, that's not fair. Chris has probably beat it now that he went to prison, although he's obviously out of prison, but still. Although unofficial, it was worth mentioning that death of Bob in September 2011, Chris has not returned to YouTube for over 2 years, which broke his previous record of 257 days. Technically, that could have been considered the 7th internet abandonment, with the only exceptions being Facebook and Twitter. However, in November 2013, Chris uploaded a video he recorded the previous month, once again showing that ultimately he just couldn't resist uploading things about himself. He continued to upload these videos sparingly throughout 2014 and 2015, returning on a regular basis from October 2015 onwards. And yeah, no, this is really old because they didn't even mention, oh yeah, by the way, he was off the internet for like 2-3 years because he got arrested for, raping his mother and all that. Anyways, that was Chris and the internet. My god. I remember recording this a while back, but the audio corrupted. But, I'm really glad that I got to record this again because I just haven't had much time on my hands recently. But yeah, that was Chris and the internet. I hope you had a good time watching. I had a good time making this, honestly. It was pretty interesting to read. I don't really mind that it was a classic error. I don't know if you guys mind, but I don't really care. Anyway, subscribe and do all the other things I said at the beginning, and goodbye.